when we
what
talk
does that
about
mean to
traditional
you? Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that um, I this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. It's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Woke. My book's about woke ruining America, and what woke is your question. What is woke not? The point is, we'll be right back. In a moment, I will share with you the actual reason, the actual excuse that this author is now claiming for why she was unable to define woke, the concept her entire book, Stolen Youth, is surrounding and is all about. First, it's just incredible that a human being that wrote an entire book, an entire chapter defining the word woke, could not define it. The entire premise that so much on the right, so many people on the right are using to try to villainize the left and trying to say that wokeness is a disease spreading through the country like wildfire, and they don't know what it is, because it just means being a good person who is open to learning about injustices, aware of them, educated on them, and interested in righting those wrongs. And her not being able to define it is the least of the bad things she said during this interview, the absurd things she said during this interview. But it is hilarious, once again, that she was like, look, wokeness is, can you define woke?
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
I don't want to, cannot, and I do not want to. But how about this one?
It's something that we hit on a lot in our book, and it's sort of this this martyrdom complex that a lot of young people are encouraged to adopt. And so, you know, you kind of gain points among your peers when you talk about your mental illness, about your victimhood. And so one of the examples that I heard from a very wealthy mother in Silicon Valley of, you know, very, very upper class child, definitely in the top 5% of children in the world, honestly, as far as luck goes. And she said that she felt like she had to be a victim in some way in order to gain credibility among her peers. And so she sort of adopted a mental health condition that she didn't necessarily have. And a lot of that was egged on by TikTok.
She claims that children are making up mental health conditions and mental illnesses. She said that this child was suffering from a condition that she didn't necessarily have. What's a condition you don't necessarily have? You either have it or you don't have it. And I'm not saying there's no instances of people exaggerating or pretending they have something, but that's not the rule. The majority of people that are saying that they suffer of mental illness is because they are. And there's more diagnosis of it now for really two reasons. One, because we're more in touch with our feelings and reality. We're not trying to be the stoic people of the past that are sitting there just saying to brush it off and dust it off when you got bloody knees or you got a serious mental health problem you need to discuss with somebody. We're actually finally defining conditions and being open to helping people, being more supportive of children in this country, which is what your book is supposed to be supportive of. Stolen Youth should not be let's ignore children with problems. And the implication that just because this child comes from a very wealthy family, they don't have any problems is absolutely bonkers and an abysmal argument. Have you ever heard the scientific phrase, mo money, mo problems? I mean, come on. Oftentimes, people that are the most out of touch and least connected to reality, that are born into wealth, grow up with such problems, severe problems, because they do not know how to relate in the normal world. I'm not saying we should feel sorry for rich kids more than more disadvantaged people, but I'm just saying to say that you can't have a mental illness because you're rich is super bonkers. I mean, have you seen Britney Spears? Oops, did I say that? Was that not woke enough? Anyway, the liberal host on this show, Miss Gray, called the author out for something hilarious.
How do you disaggregate what might be characterized as a mental health crisis caused by a focus on mental health crises, and the idea that we should be perhaps less attentive to the idea that people who say they have mental health crises are in fact experiencing mental health crises?
So it's hard to disentangle the two. And how do you know when a child is experiencing a genuine mental health crisis versus that of a child who is sort of perpetuating their own misery in order to gain credibility among their peers? And it's hard to know where one starts and one stops. But there is a line between having an honest and frank conversation about the mental health crisis that children are facing, in large part because of what we did to them over COVID, and sort of the perpetuation of victimhood.
She keeps talking about how there's too much victimhood and claiming of victimhood in this country. And then she says, but aren't you claiming victimhood, saying that much of America are victims to this? Shouldn't you be able to brush that off? A brilliantly made point. To the excuse that this ridiculous author made for why she was unable to define woke, listen to this. Mandel tweeted her excuse saying, and I quote, "I heard her demeaning parenting in general in colorful and nasty terms, stating parents only have kids in order to perpetuate their own narcissism. As a mom of 6, including a newborn, this just threw me off a bit. Not an excuse, just a reality. I'm human." I'd like to point out that her inability to define woke came nearly 7 minutes into the conversation. So she was fine and not too discombobulated by the host talking about her feelings on parenting, overheard by the author of a book on parenting and youth in this country. And 7 minutes later, when asked the key question that most conservatives that are decrying wokeness can't define, suddenly she had a flashback and remembered, oh my God, she doesn't think most people should have kids. I don't remember my whole point of my whole book now. Aw, boo-hoo. That's gotta be tough. And credibility went from 0 to -5. Congratulations, you win. And by win, I mean lose. I'm Ben Gleib for Rebel HQ. Check out my stand-up comedy videos and all of my postings on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Ben Gleib. Thank you so much. And stay woke, or not, or like whatever.